This year marks 25 years of Wiser Wealth Management. If you've ever wondered what a financial advisory team learns after working with clients for 25 years, through bull markets, crashes, everything in between, this episode's for you. Stay tuned.
Welcome to a Wiser Retirement Podcast, where we cut through the noise and bring you real, honest conversations about investing, retirement, and building lasting wealth. No sales pitches, no gimmicks, just insights to help you stop guessing and start planning your financial future.
Welcome to a Wiser Retirement Podcast. I'm your host, Senior Financial Advisor Shauna Theriault, and I'm joined by Casey Smith, founder and president of Wiser Wealth Management. Today, we're going to look at the past, present, and future of the 25 years of Wiser Wealth Management. So exciting.
I've never been on this side before, maybe once or twice. This is really intimidating. This is really intimidating.
And I bet you know the answers to the questions.
I know the answers to all the questions.
I bet you do. This is about your firm, our firm that you started. So
yeah.
Well, let's talk about the beginning and kind of, how it began, how the firm began. What was the original vision you had?
First of all, we are 25 years old. But in 2007, I actually bought a company called Wiser Financial from a Mr. Wiser, who founded his company in 1987. So we have roots back to 1987, although technically that company was dissolved and we modified the name, obviously, to Wiser Wealth Management. So we have clients that predate the original start date in 2001, which is pretty neat.
That is great.
A lot of the senior citizens back in 2007 have passed away. A lot of them during 2020, unfortunately. And they were all such dear people. So I have great fond memories of that era, despite, buying a firm right before a financial crisis. But if you go back 25 years ago, the world was a different place. Financial planning wasn't as prevalent as it is now.
Yeah.
And so really what I was doing is I wanted to follow two passions. I was in financial services for about a year, working in a broker dealer firm, which is a horrible experience, which we'll talk about that later. But the premise for me starting my own company at a young age of 24 years old was basically, I want to go develop portfolios using low cost index funds. And at the time, as a broker, there was zero compensation for that. If you put somebody in a low cost Vanguard index mutual fund, which is primarily what we had back then, there was zero compensation by the broker.
Meaning the commissions, they didn't pay the commissions
Right.
And the trails and everything. Like the old model that people used to work by is the trails and the commissions.
If you put money in the mutual funds that the company owned, you got a 6% commission. If you put in anybody else's, you got a 5%. And then they pushed you so hard to push annuities amongst anything else. So if a client even remotely was suitable for an annuity, your boss would be on top of you saying, you've got to get this annuity sold, despite they'd be just fine buying low cost index funds and having some cash reserves. And so part of me being, I've always been goal driven, and tell me I can't do something and I will find a way to figure out how to do it. Assuming we're talking about something legal.
Of course. We're a fiduciary now.
Not a risk taker in that sense.
We're a fiduciary.
But yeah, it's this fiduciary feeling model originally started with just being an asset manager and building portfolios that I felt like didn't have a hidden agenda built into it. So
yeah. Well, what problem were you trying to solve when you started the firm?
I think that's kind of the same premise of how I got started. It's like I'm trying to build conflict-free portfolios, which you think that a lot of people say, oh, if it's expensive but the performance is still better than net of fees, then you'll be fine. But the problem is, even I knew back in the early 2000s that works for a short time span, but statistically over a long time period, those managers aren't going to be able to keep up, and that fee really hurts you.
Yeah.
And so that's where later on, there was a SPIVA report that would come out by Standard & Poor's comparing the S&P 500 or whatever index the manager says they track. So the manager gets to choose their benchmark, right? Over a 20-year period, we've now seen, because that report is 20 years old, over a 20-year period, we've seen that about 98% of fund managers failed to beat their assigned index, which pushes me more back toward low cost index funds, which today we use ETFs. But essentially, I was trying to solve that at the very beginning.
Yeah. What were the early days actually like?
It's hard to picture this, but I specifically remember living in a townhome here in Marietta, 2-bedroom, 2-bath townhome, no children. That's really hard to imagine, especially as much as
it feels like a lifetime
kids.
ago, right?
I know, right? Probably like a 28 waist size or something like that.
You still almost do. You're still healthy.
I remember sitting there at my computer going, okay, I'm starting this business. I've left the big brokerage house, 24 years old. And by the way, I will add, I had a 1-year no compete, and I was scared to death of getting sued, and not having the resources to defend myself. Found a good attorney up in New Jersey who just said, Georgia's a right to work state. They can't do much to you, but you still have to defend yourself. Just lay low for 12 months. So I was laying low for 12 months. I was also getting my pilot's license and building the foundation of this company. But I remember sitting in that room, looking at my computer and thinking, man, if I took this thing from $300,000 in assets under management to $10 million, I'm good.
Oh, wow.
Right. Because you just have you have no rent, no overhead, no employees.
Yeah.
It's just me, right? I just build this lifestyle firm, and we're like total opposite of a lifestyle firm at this point.
That's not even in your general makeup anyway. You can't just stop at that anyway.
No, I don't know how to stop. So that was the very, very beginning. That was day one in June of 2001. And then fast forward to, I went into an aviation, I flew at Colgan Air. Businesses formed, family and friends, not doing any marketing, don't have a place of business. 2004, we now have an office, but it was inside another wealth management firm. Like, who would do that, right?
Here's my competitor.
But it was Mr. Weiser who knew that he needed succession plan. He was in his mid 60s. So I literally just rented an office from him. And a lot of the initial clients came from him going, these people aren't listening to me. He was kind of a grouchy man. So these people aren't listening to me. You take them. And they were perfectly fine people. There's nothing wrong with the people. He was just
different personality fits.
Different personality. Near the end of his career, is kind of over it, I think. And so we took, I would take on some clients that way. And then I started getting more known in the aviation community as a person who was good with finance. And so I started doing retirement and insurance workshops through the Airline Pilots Association. It sounds really boring, but you'd have about 100 people come out with their spouses.
Wow.
To these events. And half of it was like, Dave Ramsey, don't do stupid stuff with your money, for the young people. And then the people who are about to retire, I was giving them some retirement tips in the workshops. So about 4 hours, lunch in the middle. Those were really good. Just it wasn't a bait and switch. I didn't hand out business cards. I don't think. It was just trying to help my fellow aviators be smarter with money, which in aviation, we could write a whole book on crazy stories of what pilots do with their money. But those were the very early days. I did backside of the clock flying. So I would fly at night, and then I would work in the office during the daytime, and maybe call it quits by 2:00, go home, take a nap. And then get back up, go back to the airport, do it all over again.
Wow.
So it was good times. Your body can only work both sides of the clock for so long. So I did that for 12 years.
Wow.
Really 10 years on the backside. 12, the first 2 years were just normal day flying. But yeah, that's what the beginning looked like. It was myself, a very nice lady named Latrell Allen, who is still with us, still living. I guess she's approaching 80 by now. We talk with her. She's still a client. We talk with her during her review meetings. But she kind of kept the place running when I was out of the office. And then eventually we started growing. And then she was like, I think I'm slowing down a little bit. Yeah. We need to find a replacement. And that's where Alexa Brandon came in, and she replaced Latrell. Yeah. And now Alexis in her 14th year of managing me, and then keep making sure our firm runs.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, what would you say has changed over? So that was the beginning. What would you say has changed over the last 25 years? There's been, major shifts in obviously financial planning and investing. So, kind of go through with us what you think has changed over the last couple of decades.
The roots of the firm were asset management. Mr. Weiser's management style was picking individual stocks, individual bonds, thinking he could beat the S&P 500. That was never my philosophy. So I was very quick to pivot the firm in 2007 out of individual stock picking back into indexing, which has really helped us through the financial crisis, not having direct exposure to certain asset classes. But the big thing in our industry is really the onset of financial planning. So everyone said that the fees that we charge would have to drop because computers can manage money now. There's no secret sauce in investing. Yeah. Now we're not as passive as we used to be. Right. That we have some more active sides of our portfolio. So I think that has probably changed. But the big thing is comprehensive financial planning. That is what's changed. So instead of just managing money, we're now looking at your property casualty insurance. Are you properly insured? We're diving deep into estate planning. We're doing tax planning now. We're doing all the things that money managers never even really thought about in the last generation. And that's to make sure that the tail's not wagging the dog. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like if you do all portfolio management and you say, this is all you need, well, what about everything else?
Well, it's like one piece of it's the whole comprehensive. It's one piece. It's a very important piece of the pie, but it's one piece of it. It's not the full picture.
Correct. And also I found really diving more into behavioral finance, understanding how people react to market movements. And if they have whole complete financial planning done and updated on an annual basis, they have so much less anxiety than the people who are just like, oh my gosh, my whole world's blowing up because the portfolio is down 20%.
Well, and then they really know what the projected plan is and how. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And we've been able to show them, we've baked in another financial crisis. So you can have one of those in your lifetime. Hopefully we have none of those.
Yeah.
We thought we were going to have that. We thought we were going to have that maybe during COVID. That didn't happen at all. So it's shifting from an asset management firm in the mid 2000s to being more of a planning firm, which I think we were more leading edge on that in that front versus other firms. I remember I have a friend of mine in the business, and he's like, I don't understand why you're doing all this financial planning. It's like, because our firm's going to be irrelevant if you don't become planners. Yeah. And he adopted it maybe 5 years later. And I still think he's behind the ball and catching up is what plans cover. So you have to be forward thinking. And I think that's something we do good here.
Yeah. Well, are there any key inflection points that you can speak to over the last 25 years that, really changed or helped or?
Yeah, I would say the financial crisis really shaped me as a planner because at the time we were kind of transitioning into planning, but we were really just asset managers prior to that. And that's where our cash bucket process came from. Because like, holy crap, you're seeing, almost a 60% drop in the market from peak to trough over a year and a half. Right. And you're watching that and people are like, well, I have to do this withdrawal. I have to do this withdrawal. Yeah. But before that, the theory was that you leave your money invested and you pull it out as you need it. And then during that period, I was like, wow, we need to establish cash reserves. We never have to touch the stock market when it's going through a period like that.
Well, even the bonds were down then, which is really unusual. Because usually it's like, when the market's down, the bonds are stable or up. But that didn't happen in 08 and 09.
In 08 and 09, the problem was in the bond market.
Exactly.
And it spread to the stock market.
Right.
People saw the stocks, as most people don't understand what bonds do exactly. And so the closest thing we've had to that has been 2022. So fast forward, many, many years later, we had interest rates rapidly increasing. We had bond prices declining and stock prices declining. So with that happening, we were able to use our cash buckets as reserve to send our monthly payments to retirees without having to touch the portfolio. And then in 2023 came around, we were able to capture those all-time highs again and replenish our cash buckets. And I've never gone to calculate what the rate of return of that was if we had to keep doing what we were doing back in 06 and 07.
Yeah.
But it's a kind of an unspoken rate of return that I think that would have covered our fees for several years.
Yeah.
Just by having that process in place. Those are the values that we probably don't do a good job of explaining to people, because our MO is not to walk into a meeting and say, look what we did for you. You need to, those aren't good people. We don't like those kind of people. Right. So we want to be humble. And we want to be kind of in the background. But knowing that those were there gave me a lot of confidence in 2022 versus prior issues. You think about tech changes in our industry. I'm a big tech guy. Thank goodness for Alexa over the years, because if there's a shiny object and it looks good, I'm like, we need that, and she'll be like, oh no, we don't need to be doing that right now. It just kind of reins me back in. But you think about client portals that didn't exist 20 years ago. You think about, how AI it's not replacing us, but it's aiding us in being more in depth.
That's
in some
even
of the
like
things
5 years ago, we didn't have what we have now.
Correct.
Like
and
3
5 years from
ago,
now, it's going to be even better. What's really sad is like we have all the SEC compliant AI tools that we use to help us be better advisors. And when I talk with Schwab, the lady, her name's Paige, in charge of Schwab, she's a consultant basically to advisors like us. She says that we're probably one of the more advanced firms when it comes to tech. And I'm like, well, Paige, that's really disappointing, because I was talking to you today to learn out what else I could be doing. So that's where we have to go outside our industry and say, hey, what are we using for this? Or what are we using for that? And develop tools.
I love that you do that too. You don't just stay within the industry and you go outside. But
I think another thing, inflection point probably is the marketing rule, which is we've been successful with. When you look at, a few years ago, up until a few years ago, the SEC would not allow testimonials in advertising, or even meaning Google reviews, basically. And so we were waiting for that when the SEC said, okay, you can now use marketing, or Google reviews in your marketing, or ask for them. We had a whole campaign built. So that day, hit enter, and off it goes.
Yeah.
And we have, I haven't looked lately, but it's over 160 plus 5-star and 4-star Google reviews.
Yeah.
And other firms are catching up to that, but they're never going to have the SEO recognition that we have, because we're just so far ahead on that marketing front.
Yeah.
And it's not just Google reviews. There's so much other secret sauce when it comes to marketing that other people just don't get, or the old guys in our industry. Our industry's full. I have gray hair now, but full of gray-headed 60 plus year olds that go, no, you can't do that in marketing. You're violating the SEC marketing rule. I'm like, no, it changed like 4 years ago and you missed it.
Yeah. That's huge.
Or
that's where
compliance departments are reluctant to allow people to do it. So that's a whole other thing that I've been proud of our team on staying ahead.
Well, and thinking about our core philosophy and what Wiser stands for and what we believe, what does Wiser stand for today?
I think that it really comes down to truth, transparency, and confidence. So we always want to tell people the truth. And a lot of times you meet with an advisor, they just want your assets under management and everything's going to be fine. Even if it's not going to be fine 10, 15 years from now, that it benefits the advisor to just say, grab those assets. So I have told people in the past, like, no, you don't need to take your pension as a distribution. You need to take the annuity from your company, because they had multiple bankruptcies. I could tell they're bad with money. And so you're just like, you need to protect yourself and know that
from yourself.
If you screw up this month, next month, there's another payment coming. Right. And there's been other times when, the polar opposite of that, where, I think people have been with firms and they're managing their assets, but they're not telling them to go live their best lives. And I love those kind of meetings. I feel like I have more of those meetings now because we've had 10 good years in the market. Yeah. But I'll sit there, usually with Grace, one of the planning associates that works with me, and I'll say, what have you guys done that you're not doing? I had a meeting last week. They were talking about, it's been 20 years since we've been to Alaska. We'd love to take our kids and grandkids.
Go.
It's like, well, why aren't you planning that? Well, I don't know if we have the money for that. You do have the money. I just put it in. I just put into the plan double what you said it was on cost to do that. And the needle didn't even budge. So it's giving people, telling people the truth about what they can do with their assets instead of trying to be selfish and increase your assets under management by not telling them they can spend money.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty, that's pretty prevalent in our industry for especially the smaller firms that are trying to grow. Transparency this is what we're going to do for you, and this is what we charge. That's still not very transparent. One of the hardest things for a brand new client to understand is that we send them an invoice. They don't pay it. It comes out of their account. They don't pay it indirectly. It comes out of their account. Our management fees and our planning fees that are all baked into one fee. Other firms don't do it that way. They tried to hide the fact that you actually pay them, or go to the extent and saying, oh, you don't pay me, the fund company pays me. Well, if that's the case, you're probably paying over 2% a year in fees. We're half the cost. I'm not trying to be half the cost,
Right.
but we're half the cost.
Yeah.
And so being transparent sometimes is a little risk because people don't always understand how this world works, and you have to do a good job of explaining that to them. And even then, you're probably living on trust because they still don't quite follow it after that. And then the confidence part, again, goes back to giving people the confidence to go live their best lives without the fear and anxiety of money.
Well, and that's true. That's what the planning does too. It does give the confidence that you know that you can go do that. And a lot of advisors still don't do much planning. So, I mean,
Correct.
That's
most advisors are doing planning, retirement planning. This is how much money you have. This is how much money you need to live every month. They're not touching anything else.
Right.
You could be severely underinsured, and if there was a judgment against you because you had a bad day driving, you might be out of money just as bad as the financial crisis.
Yeah.
But you can't recoup that because your insurance policy wasn't designed properly.
Right.
Those are things that we can back up agents with, and making sure that they understand what is really needed.
Absolutely. How do we approach clients differently than typical advisors, would you say?
It's planning first. So when I meet with prospects, or you meet with prospects, we often talk about we're a financial planning firm that does asset management, as opposed to an asset management firm that's kind of dabbling in planning. There in planning meetings, there's a lot of time is spent on updating the life plan, the goals, what we're trying to accomplish financially. And then the portfolio segment is probably a 30-minute block allocated for it in our minds, but it's like a 5-minute conversation, and clients just kind of move on because we've already established with the plan that they're going to be fine.
Right.
We probably, if the markets were down, we probably would be spending more time on it. It's been a good 10 years.
Yeah.
But it's, the planning first mentality is what people advertise that they are. But the plans that I see from new clients that have come from other firms are very, very light.
Just like calculators, like retirement calculators.
You could probably do it online for free, quite honestly.
Definitely can.
So I think that's the big thing that separates us from. And then now with this year, rolling out a new planning calendar for clients, where we used to do a lot of planning a couple of weeks before they came in for the review meeting. Some clients say, I want a review meeting this week. And you're like, oh my gosh, like we can't. So you're trying to piece it all together before they come in. You don't have that normal lead time.
Yeah.
With the new planning calendar, we're doing every other year deep dives into different planning topics. And then consistently doing tax planning in the last quarter of the year.
Yes.
That is a big differentiator for us versus even other planning firms.
And we really get into the numbers of the deep dive into the taxes and throughout the year even too. I mean, I know there's clients we do running tax projections to see what's going on so we can, alert them to what's going on too. So that's a little different than, I know many clients come to us and, I just had one recently where it's like, one came in and they just had to write a big check in April and their advisor didn't give them a heads up that they had huge gains. So that kind of thing is, What would you say are the lessons you learned along the way?
Being an entrepreneur, I didn't embrace that soon enough because, I'm a financial planner, and then I'm a pilot, and then I'm a pilot and a financial planner. And I don't know that I identified exactly with both groups, but as far as who I am as a person, how I'm made up, But I found as I started meeting and engaging more with entrepreneurs, that I'm an entrepreneur. I can move. I move things. I make things happen. I set goals. I achieve goals.
You
right?
see visions.
Yes, and I have visions of what needs to happen in the future. So, if I had embraced that sooner, we would have had a podcast sooner. We're getting 9,000 downloads in this podcast, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But when I should have started it was in 2008, because I had a lot of things to talk about in 2008, and I had some people around me that could have helped me do that. And
were they even as prevalent then, though?
No, but that's the whole idea. You want to be first.
Yeah,
right?
That's fair.
It's kind of like when YouTube started Shorts, right? So we were one of the first people to really start using YouTube Shorts. We're getting tens of thousands of views on YouTube Shorts with us in this podcast with just little segments, right? So we've had tremendous success in YouTube Shorts because now we've been there a while, and it's the algorithm's used to seeing us there, right? Yeah. Where we're seeing in podcast land. If we'd done a podcast sooner, I feel like that we could be that much more ahead of ourselves. I think we'll catch up. But those were ideas that we had back then. Again, we were more of an asset management firm, so it had been a very different type of podcast than what it is today. I probably flew too long professionally. I stopped flying in 2014. I pretty could have stopped in 2011 or 2012. But there are reasons, you're scared. You're scared to leap.
Of course.
You're scared to leap. You're just like
a sure thing. And then,
right.
The entrepreneur track.
Right. Because the allure of commercial aviation was fading at the time. The airline was starting to shrink, and I was, couldn't do the night stuff as much. I was having to fly during the daytime, and it's like flying Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then I'd be in here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I was starting to wear down.
But you also went through 2008 and 2009. So, that was a downturn and everything. And so it was kind of like taking that leap is scary too.
But if you look at when I stopped flying in 2014, we've had a consistent 20% annual growth rate as a firm.
Wow.
Prior to that, in some years it was 30. Prior to that, it was like single digits, which is normal in our industry.
Yeah.
But when I could give 100% attention and focus, it was, when I stopped flying in 2014, I said, I'm gonna get my golf handicap down, back down to 4 or single digits. I got it to 7, and then I did it, and I shot even par a couple times, and I was like, okay, that's cool.
It doesn't move the needle, but
now what?
Now what? Right, exactly.
and then that's like, okay, it's time to go read business books. And so I was reading multiple business books a month, and basically doing my own little master's program and saying, okay, right, this is how I should be talking about growth, and this is how I hire people. This is how I replicate myself through processes, right? So just going through that journey, I wish I'd started that a little bit sooner. Honestly, one of the biggest reasons that I kept hanging on was healthcare. For a family of 5, healthcare was so stinking expensive. Yeah. I was like, well, if I do it there, they're almost paying almost all of it. And then so when I made the leap, that was a huge burden to take on. And then now it's like a big deal.
Healthcare is still expensive.
It's still expensive, but we have the revenue to cover it. I don't think about it as much.
Right. What lessons did you learn from major downturns such as 2000, 2008, 2020? It's really funny. It's like when I'm dealing with clients, it's amazing now. You and I have been in the industry, I think about the same amount of 29 years. You're similar. It's like now we can actually talk through the market, it's like I actually saw and lived through these time periods.
We have the wisdom that goes with it.
I don't know about wisdom, but at least the experience.
Right. So 2000 was pretty early for me. I graduated college in 2000. So the whole .com crisis, I didn't really have any clients. I was just kind of watching going, interesting.
Yeah.
I would say 2008 hit me pretty hard. It hit the airline travel pretty hard too. So I was actually bidding for time off. They would pay for my healthcare, and I wouldn't have to fly because they didn't need pilots as much. So I used that time to really kind of handhold the clients that were that were in the firm at the time. I learned a lot in 2008, which I think applied to 2020. So when we got to 2020, I was like, okay, well, it's a different headline, but I have a journal from 2008, and it was kind of like, this might happen again, but I'm not going to make the same mistakes I did in 2008. And so I referenced that in 2020. I referenced that journal, and so instead of being scared about the problem, I attacked the problem. And when I learned how to change my rhetoric about things, the clients were also more positive. And we had people, instead of people going, oh my God, move me to cash, they were like, how do we invest more money?
Yeah.
And so we started thinking is like, okay, well, you don't have any extra cash, but you're still working. So we're going to front load your 401k. So we're going to put like 50%, the max you can put in of your paycheck for that given company into your 401k plan. So instead of being scared, we coached our clients to take advantage of the situation. And then if you're already retired, it was like, I had a client phone call who said, hey, I got some extra cash. You don't have to send me my withdrawal this month.
Yeah.
And I said, well, it doesn't matter because we already have the reserve. This doesn't really affect you unless we stay in this for 2 years.
Yeah.
Then we got a problem, but then we could use your bonds if we had to. And they were like, oh, well, just keep sending me my money then. Right.
So then they went through a downturn and felt that their lifestyle didn't change.
Correct.
Because the whole premise of the planning.
I can almost tell them with 100% certainty that their lifestyle is not going to change.
Mm-hmm.
Right. In that moment, because of the cash bucket system.
Right.
Now, if they start shutting down capitalism and the government takes over cola companies and takes over the airlines then that's a whole different story. But there's no threat of that.
No.
Right.
No. Yeah. Absolutely.
So I think in the end, those lessons helped in all the series. And thank goodness for 2020, it was not drawn out more than 4 months.
Yeah,
I think by 6 months we were back to where we started.
Yeah.
I think 2022 is harder, quite honestly, than 2008, because in 2008 our bank accounts were falling apart. In 2020, there's a thing called COVID. Didn't know what it meant, but people were dying, so we're just trying not to die.
Right, right.
So your priority was not to die versus is my money going to be okay? Right.
Yeah. Totally different feel. And then there was 9/11 sprinkled in there too, which that affected the airlines.
Yeah.
And, so like the .coms hit and then 9/11, that was actually the longest time recovery in our lifetimes, where it took the longest for the market to recover.
That's right.
08 and 09 was like 4.5 years, but that whole time period was probably close to 9 years, I believe.
Yeah, it was a flat decade.
It was, yeah. So that was, I was in the industry in 1997. So I went through that, and saw and witnessed all of the .coms and, in the industry during that time. So they all had they were somewhat similar, but different causes, but it's just really interesting.
Not all financial advice is created equal. Coming this summer, Everything Your Financial Advisor Won't Tell You. An eye-opening book that reveals what's really happening inside the financial industry and what it takes to build a plan that actually works. Because what you don't know could be costing you.
What would you tell your younger self?
You're gonna have a hard time believing this, but be bold and move faster. People think I'm bold now and I move fast now, but I should have done some things faster back then. You don't know. As far as building a business, our marketing strategy, I thought about it too long, a couple of years, and I was like, someone told me, well, if the marketing didn't work like this, all the marketing agencies would be out of business. We wouldn't do marketing. Like, it's going to work. Are you ready for it to work? So that was from a growth standpoint, growing a firm, putting the right people in place. That's something I learned. That was kind of my journey after I stopped flying, was the people, processes, and profits. Right. So I was understanding processes, which we have so many processes now. It's kind of a vein of our existence in some days, these processes that we keep breaking for good reasons. But the people part is really, really tough. You got to find the right people. And so I think we have a magic formula now.
Yeah.
But it starts with younger people.
Yeah.
And sometimes the older people look at the younger people. Well, you don't know anything. Why should you be my advisor? But our younger people are just made different, and they're trained differently than other people. So our young people have wisdom.
They do.
And it's amazing what they're doing.
Yeah, it is.
And always hire people smarter than me. That's why you're here.
Well, you know what I think of when you're telling this story, and I think of this about the people you're talking about. All of these things you went through grew you into the leader that you are, so that you could have the people follow you too. You know what I mean?
Possibly,
so, I mean,
right.
you're a great leader. So, what are some common mistakes that you see clients make?
I feel like there's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why they come here. But I think most recently, probably politics mixing with portfolios. I've said it on the podcast many times. I'll say it again. If you hate Trump, but Delta can sell seats and Trump and Coca-Cola can sell syrup, your portfolio is going to be just fine, right?
Yeah.
If you love Trump, but Delta can't sell seats and no one wants to buy Coke syrup, then you're not going to be okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because we have to have
And
sales.
so what is the connection between
earnings.
politics and capitalism? And the reality is it's not highly correlated. News cycles inside, 3 months, the markets will fluctuate. Yes.
Yeah.
But whether Kamala had won versus Trump, would the world be a different place? Absolutely be a different place. There's different reasons why people voted for the people they voted for. However, it comes back down to really making money, and neither party system is going to destroy the system that makes money.
Yeah. Right.
So we get too wrapped up. In politics. I don't think our clients are this way. We're a wealth management firm, so we're meeting with a different segment of the population. But in reality, no matter who the president is, Americans, we just have it embedded into us that we solve the problems ourselves. We don't need politicians to go solve the problem. We're strong people. We're a strong nation because of the people, and people discount that.
Yeah.
Right. If AI takes all the jobs, like everyone's scared about, people are going to find ways to make money. People are going to find ways to take care of themselves, because we don't lean on our government to do it for us. Now, there is a segment of our population that does that. They don't come to wealth management firms.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
And you still should care for your neighbor. If we all cared for our neighbors, we wouldn't need churches to do it. We wouldn't need government to do it, because we could handle it locally. Right. But so I would say just getting politics mixed in with portfolios. Also, people with that feeling. So I feel like there's less of this. I think we're doing a good job through our podcast of talking about this, but I have a feeling the market's just going to crash. I want to pull some money back.
Yeah.
You can't, your feelings, your fight or flight mentality that we're born with as humans, those are all things that you kind of have to ignore when it comes to portfolios.
Yeah.
You need to do database research. And most people don't have the tools, and they're not actually doing the data research to say, what's the best? What should I be doing in my portfolio based on what's happening? So those are the mistakes I see that people get caught up in. Also, probably with you think about with prospects, there's always someone's interviewed, and all they talk about is rate of return. I can get you this rate of return. We can do this. There is no secret sauce in investing. And there are certain firms that are really good about talking their book and talking what they did and make their prospective client feel special, but they are adding no more value to that portfolio than owning Vanguard index funds for the most part.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a sucker play. And so the client doesn't have planning. They're overpromised on rate of returns that they're probably never going to actually see.
Yeah.
And it's kind of it's a dead end. But those are kind of the mistakes that I typically feel like I'm fighting, maybe on more of a meeting by meeting basis.
Mm. So the client stories is something that's, near and dear, because that is what we're doing. We're in the people, we're here with the relationships and the people. So, tell us a little bit about a typical client journey.
Well, for new clients, you're going through that 3-step planning process. It's 3 meetings. At a minimum, could be more, where we're really diving into your overall situation. So that's a typical onboarding process. Many clients we're managing assets for as well. So we get to the end, we've transferred assets in. Andrew started working his magic and setting up the portfolio, lowering their costs, focused on growth and income. Then what's interesting is the cadence in which we meet with clients is really set on them. I have clients that I meet with on a quarterly basis. We don't really talk about investments anymore. They've been here for 5 years. We talk about family stuff, or they complain about their spouse. The spouse doesn't come. And but it's more of a relationship.
Mm.
There is the annual, nuts and bolts review meetings, right? I mean, those are still happening. But I think over time, our value is to be there when things happen. Kids get divorced. What are we going to do? How do we protect our assets, or how can we help my daughter or son? The kids, there's a market event. How do we handle this? Or we're paying for college now. What about this? Or kid got into a better college than what we expected. So how can we handle this? It's just being there ready to go. And you've gotten all the planning done ahead of time. And you have this relationship over the years, and you just kind of remember that family and what they need. So it's we have a 99% 5-year retention ratio. There's a lot more people now, obviously, than there was 26 years ago or 25 years ago. But thank goodness for technology and good note taking. We're able to kind of stay on top of each individual family. But I think the journey starts with a lot of heavy lifting, followed by long-term relationship that hopefully is invaluable to both of us, right?
Yeah. Tell us about a moment where your advice made a real difference in someone's life.
I hope there's many cases like that. There's one family I worked with that self-employed, owed a lot of money to the government. And I was trying to negotiate to get the tax burden reduced, and they just made too much money. It wasn't going to happen. And I don't do a whole lot of that. So part of it was kind of navigate all that. But I could sense a lot of tension between them. And I remember sitting across the table, and I looked at them and I said, I'm willing to figure this out with you guys, but if you two get divorced, I'm out. And they just kind of sat there looking at me like, you could tell it was probably on the table with their reaction.
Yeah.
Money
and stress.
money and stress.
Causes
It's
stress.
like, I'm not going to do all this work. And then you two be like, trying to split me in half. Right. And they've been clients here for probably 20 years now. And they still kind of smile about that. And I don't remember the exact comments.
And they're still married, we hope.
Yes, absolutely. They've gone through other things, cancer and things like that, and they've been there very strong for each other. So I think that's probably one pivotal moment. I feel like more recently, it's been more of encouraging people to go do something.
Yeah.
Like if you're 80 years old, I feel like I say this in my sleep. If you're 80 years old and you're looking back in your life, what is it you want to accomplish? Well, we've been good savers. So save. But now we're in our retirement phase where some people are in their mid 70s and they're like, I've always wanted to go to Paris. Well, why don't you go to Paris?
Right.
I have no one to travel with. Well, join a group, or in some cases, like, I don't know. In one family, it was like, COVID. COVID's just the reason why we can't travel. I'm like, it's 2025. Like that.
Yeah.
COVID and flu are just kind of intertwined now.
Yeah.
So it's encouraging people to go live their best lives. I think that is probably the probably where we're making the biggest difference right now, assuming all the other things are just taken care of. The rest of it is just doing our job. Does that make sense? All the planning and the asset management, that's just doing our job.
Right.
But to get people to live their best lives is it's almost like an art of some sort, because you have to speak that person's language and understand what's causing them not to do it. Right.
A lot of them are scared to spend money, then just show them the numbers again and, plug in worst case scenario and then doing, just speak to that so they feel comfortable.
And then 25% of the people we meet with in prospects, 25% of them don't have the resources or the money to pay us even for one-time plans.
Yeah.
And recently I've had some conversations where I'm like, you're living above your lifestyle, above your means. Your lifestyle's above your means. You need to cut it out. And you probably need to eat rice and beans for 18 months and then you can get rid of this and you can reintroduce things back into your life. And I remember the person on the phone or the video screen that says, well, you mean I can't go on vacation this summer? I'm like, no, I'm telling you that if you don't do this, you'll never go on a vacation again.
Yeah.
And it's just being very direct and talking to them with love, but just saying, you have to get out of this debt cycle. And this is the only way you can do that. And so I feel like we're making a difference there. Now, whether they'll ever come back, because I offered my services for free to have a full meeting with them, to give them a blueprint to get out of debt. Right. Yeah. And this happens again, 25% of the time, 1 out of 10 come back and say, okay, I really want help with this. And it's just hard. Yeah. It's hard to be good with money.
Well, clear is kind. And it's, you have to be, they're paying us to be honest, or they're coming to us to be honest, correct, whether they're paying us or not. So that goes back to our honesty.
So it's the purpose of the firm is to help people.
Yeah.
And sometimes that comes from an unsolicited hug because we help someone get through a tough situation. That's all they can give us.
Yeah.
And in other cases, we're paid very well for what we do because the situation is very complicated and we're giving them confidence that everything is buttoned up and they can go live their best lives. Right. Mm-hmm. So I think that's that's also probably a wiser difference too. I think when we hire people, we screen so many people out that just sit there across the table from me and say, how much money can I make here?
Nope.
I was like, if that's you'll make a lot of money here if your heart's in the right place. But if your heart's in the wrong place, you're going to hurt me and yourself. Yeah. So this is not the right home for me. You need to go sell insurance, right? Insurance is, we need insurance. We need life insurance. So if you want to make a quick buck, go sell some life insurance. But this is a journey.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've been working behind the scenes, on everything your financial advisor won't tell you. So this is I'll let you do the intro.
What's
your brainchild?
One of the most watched TED Talks is by a guy who did a whole talk on procrastination. And his whole TED Talk was, I've always wanted to say that I did a TED Talk. But the process of doing a TED Talk is very difficult. So he talks about the brain and he talked about all the things he got distracted with as he was trying to do his TED Talk. And he talked about, he was preparing for his TED Talk and he thought, I've never been to Egypt. So he goes, I spent 2 hours on Google Earth walking the streets of Egypt in, first person. He had nothing to do with a TED Talk. he was just completely distracted. So I can relate to that. There's a lot of distractions in my life. So I've always wanted to write a book, and I thought, well, I'm gonna do it. I reached out to a company that I felt like could help me do this, where I wasn't actually just keying in every single word. I could kind of talk through my chapters, and they could help me flesh that out on paper. Which turns out I've been better off probably just writing every single word because in the end, that's what happened.
Changing everything and redoing it. And it's like, I wouldn't have said it
they're
like that.
Here's a draft of our first chapter. I was like, this is horrible. I'm just going to start from scratch. At first I tried editing and it's like, I'm going to start from scratch. So the first chapter 1 probably had 25 revisions and then the book kind of got its voice. But what I'm a firm believer in is I had every capability of writing a book by myself. Mm. But what was important to me is I bring you guys along the journey. Yeah. And so that's what we did. We asked Andrew to write a chapter on investing. He's our king of data. So that chapter is exactly what it sounds like. There's lots of data. It goes kind of in depth. You did the tax section, the estate planning section, and insurance, correct? And
education.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, that's right. The 529 plan section. Yeah. Yep. So we managed to get 200 pages down. I think I'm probably 65, 70% of the book. You and Andrew are about 30% of the book. Yeah. And now we can all say that we're authors.
Yes. Yes.
And so the book, again, is everything your financial advisor won't tell you. And it will be coming out this summer. And I'm excited about it. I get to be genuinely me. And I don't mind poking the bear. You're the nicest person. I think my industry is a great industry, but it's the lowest barrier to entry. We have so many people in our industry that can hang their shingle and say, I'm a financial advisor with very little qualifications. And so
it's a lot, throw that word around for sure.
Yes. Yeah. And so this is a book that's about really our industry and everything that they're not telling you. Mm-hmm. It's how we conduct business here So it's kind of has a lot of our operations and how we work and how we think. But for statistically, 96% of the industry does not operate. We do. So we're fiduciary fee only is 4% of the industry, according to NAFA, one of our fee only networks that we're a part of. So 4% of the industry operates the way we do. So I think this is an opportunity to reach out to people who don't know who we are. These people that we can't always help because they don't have the resources. They have a great book to learn. People who might want to hire us can read the book to see, well, these are our thoughts on things and this is how we think.
Yeah.
Right. So it has a purpose to it. But I think it's I think it should be a great read for people who are interested in financial planning, the process behind planning. One of my favorite chapters was writing one on goal setting.
Yeah.
I make my kids do that every single year. They write down their goals for the year.
Yeah. It's a good practice because they're going to have to do it going forward. You know?
Yeah.
It's just good to do as a human and you're growing.
That's right.
That's
So,
great.
but yeah, look for that coming out this summer. We have the manuscript is completed and it'll be published through Amazon and it will be, I think, be out by sometime in June.
So where do you think the industry is heading?
So there's going to be a big push for AI-based advising. I think the market's going to push, the customers will push back. They want to have a person that they can reach out to.
Yeah.
What I think will happen is AI will be a great tool for people.
Mm-hmm.
And full disclosure, I asked AI to proofread our book, and I used 2 different versions of AI models to do it, and both came back and said one section the math was wrong, and I was like, oh, how do we get the math wrong? As an example, it's like if you give up your coffee every day and how much money you'd be saving if you invest that in the market, and it said, oh no, this number is wrong. So we went back and recalculated it, and actually humans are right. Hey, I was wrong. So there's and I've had a couple of people come to me with ChatGPT based financial planning.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, this is really good. It writes very confident, but there's some holes here, and here's where the holes are.
Yeah.
So we're going to be, I think for once it gets better, general advice, it's just kind of like the robo advisors. So there were Betterment.com, which surprisingly, we actually use Betterment as one of our custodians now. But Betterment.com came along probably 10, 15 years ago, and we don't need asset managers anymore. They're going to take over the industry.
Mm.
And what's kind of ironic is we actually use them. We like their technology and how it helps us manage portfolios, but it didn't take over, didn't replace the financial advisor.
No.
Now, what it caused is for advisors to go, oh, wow, robots can manage money now. So why do I need an advisor? And as advisors, we had to go, okay, well, we're doing financial planning now, when the robots will probably take over
trading
and investing and all that stuff. Right. So I think that would be one push. I think financial advisory firms are going to get very specific, have niches
mm-hmm.
to be successful going forward. I think the Joe Schmo on the street with less than $500,000 is going to end up probably using some type of AI planning, AI investing going forward.
Yeah.
But the more wealthier people are going to want more cohesive planning, not related to an AI model that is subject to errors as we speak. Right.
Absolutely. How would you say our firm is evolving?
We're growing so fast that we've been doing things in teams. So kind of how we have divided up our firm is you have a team, you're a senior advisor, I'm a senior advisor with my team. And it's not like me versus you.
No.
It's very much because we're all paid a salary. There's no commission here, but it's very much of you supervise a group of people and I'm supervising a group of people.
Yeah.
And as we evolve going forward, we're going to have to make sure we're communicating that we're still the advisors to these families, but they have to understand that we are better as a team. If you have a single person who's in charge of everything for you,
mm-hmm.
like if you think back to where we started, where I was a person who did the financial planning, who did the portfolio distributions, who did the trading, who did all that stuff. You're only as good as one person.
Right.
When we have our group meetings, our group think meetings, and clients come in for review meetings, pre-meeting, or clients going through our planning process, you have 5 people with different designations looking at the overall plan to say, is this the best option?
Right.
Michaela had one yesterday. She put together, it was great. But when 4 of us sat there and worked on it,
Yeah.
we're like, hey, what if you did this? Or what if you did that? We should tell them to do this with their money. Oh,
Yeah.
great. How about this? That plan went from a good plan to an A++ plan.
Yeah.
And I think that we're going to have to do a better job of explaining to clients how this is in their how this is in their benefit. Because they kind of see it as, oh, I want to talk to Casey and I only need to talk to Casey. But you guys have to understand, I hired people way smarter than me. You have to be way smarter than me to get a job here. And I hired people way smarter than me because I want the best for you.
Yeah.
And just because I'm not the one doing your deposits or your withdrawals, or I'm not the one doing your tax calculations, I'm the person responsible for it, right? To make sure it all comes together. But that's our future, is how we build these teams out and how we articulate that to our client base. I don't know that they know,
Yeah.
and actually I should do a video and post that and talking about what happens behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But there's a lot that goes on, and with our new technology tools, we're able to go a little deeper in that.
Yeah.
So I see us being deeper planners, more valuable to the client, and also being able to solve problems that other advisory firms aren't equipped to do.
Yeah. What excites you about the next 10 to 25 years?
25 years from now?
I know. It's like
25 years from now, I don't even want to think about that right now. I think what excites me is I like solving problems, and we're the fastest growing firm at Charles Schwab, have been for many years now, several years now, I should say. I like bigger is not always better, but I want to make sure that as we grow, our clients still feel like we're small, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm working really hard on finding a way that we can make sure that happens.
Yeah.
I think that building a team is exciting. I see us maybe having a different location in a different state potentially. That's exciting to me, to be able to reach more people that way. I still enjoy the client interactions and the client feedback. That's always good. But it's I don't think we're ever going to be perfect when it comes to systems and processes, but I've had great conversations with people that can build internal processes that replace humans, which replace errors.
Yep. And
so I'm excited about just building something that is way beyond me, meaning that hopefully I'll still be here in 25 years, but
absolutely.
Right? But
absolutely.
But the point is that this is building something bigger than myself. That's really important.
So just with, to wrap up, advice for listeners, what should people in different life stages focus on?
In our 20s, people tend to do things that they regret in their 30s. They spend their 30s making up for it, and they finally figure things out in their 40s. So I would say it's hard. Young people don't always listen, but if you're older, reach out, mentor your kids, your grandkids. Say, hey, admit to mistakes. These are things that I did I shouldn't have done. Don't make these mistakes. I want you to be better off than where I am. Even if you're in a great position, you can probably think of things that you wish you hadn't done. Right.
Yeah.
So I would say be focused. If you're younger, look to someone who's wise, no pun intended, to be able to be better at something. Even if they don't understand technology and how the world works, or if they can't use their iPhone, there's a lot of wisdom there. I think we discount the wisdom of our elders very often.
Yeah.
If you're middle-aged, Your income's probably increasing. You need to look for ways to stop the lifestyle creep.
Yeah.
And you need to be banking reserve. We don't know exactly what AI is going to replace in the future. You need to make sure that you're not replaceable. And that might be having to retool something or rethink something.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to start that company or take that risk. You get one shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go back to 80 years old. Did you, you're 80 years old and looking back, you're going to have regrets. That's how I got into aviation, honestly. So I thought ahead and it's like, I met so many people that said they wish they had done aviation.
Yeah.
And they didn't do it. It's like, I can't do it in my older years.
Right?
No. I mean, you can do
gap.
privately, I guess, but to do it professionally, you got to start pretty early, ideally. So anyway, don't live without regrets. Understand that you can change your situation. Don't be a victim. Be the hero of your own story. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. And then, I think for people that are older, again, I would say, don't play golf every day, like the commercial show, or sailing. We don't live in a sailing community really, but all the retired and they're always on a sailboat. I'm like, who does that? Who's on a sailboat all the time when they're retired? But don't, live your best life, but also make sure you're reaching back to help others. I think that's really important.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you say there's one principle that has held true for 25 years?
Yeah. Live below your means.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard to do it because society doesn't want you to do that. They want you to buy it for 5 easy payments.
And it helps the market too, right?
Right, yeah, exactly.
It's helping the economy.
It's helping the economy. Trillions of dollars in credit card debt.
That's the excuse, right?
It's helping the economy. $1 trillion
helping.
of credit card debt to buy things we don't really need that in the end end up wasting away in our backyard or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. That nobody wants and your kids don't want. But.
Just focus on your lane. Others are going to do things differently.
Yeah.
Dave Ramsey has a good saying, live like no one else today so you can live like no one else tomorrow.
Mm.
But that doesn't apply only just to money. It applies to taking risk and trying new things. And if it's not working out, then fail fast and move on to something else, right?
Yeah. Well, thank you. Is there anything else you want to add here before we wrap up?
No, this was great. I mean, a lot of these questions I didn't really anticipate. So you have good questions, but I would say it's been a fun 25 years. The joy that it brings to me to see nearly 18 people employed at Wiser now, and the lives that we're affecting, and all the new clients, especially for you, that I don't even know. It's, I walk into the lobby and I'm like, are they here for me? Are they here from somebody else? I don't know if they're here.
Yeah.
I'm very approachable. So if you ever want to just call me up and say, hey, I want to talk to Casey, that sounds great. But as the clients increase and I don't know them firsthand, that feels weird to me because I'm so used to being super involved in everything. But I know that you and William and Michaela, carry that out very well and are think the same way that I do about caring for clients. So I don't have worries or concerns, but sometimes I do go, this is really surreal. It's like, but no, it's been fun. I in my head, I'm only, I'm not 48 years old. I'm still 30 years old and know exactly what I want to do. So I just have a little less hair and look a little older than most 30-year-olds.
You're wiser.
That's right.
You look wiser.
That's right.
Well, there's a couple other episodes that are really good too that I love if you want to listen. Episode 241, The Heart and History of Wiser Wealth Management. And you led that one as well. That was a beautiful one. Episode 300, Built to Last, The History and Future of Wiser Wealth Management. Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you're interested in learning more about Wiser Wealth Management or want to schedule a consultation to meet with one of our fiduciary financial advisors, you can do so by going to wiserinvestor.com, or you can click on the link in the episode notes. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Thanks for listening to a Wiser Retirement podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to subscribe wherever you're listening. That way you don't miss any new episodes. We'd also appreciate if you could leave a rating and review. If you have any questions about anything that was discussed today, head to wiserinvestor.com and reach out. This podcast is strictly for informational purposes only and is not to be considered as investment advice or solicitation to buy or sell any financial products, securities, digital assets, or any other investment vehicles, or a basis to make any financial decisions. Wiser Wealth Management Incorporated is a registered investor advisor with the SEC. The host and/or guests may personally own securities, digital assets, or other investment vehicles mentioned on this podcast. Neither the host nor guests of the show are compensated for their participation, and no referral fees are paid to or received by any host or guest for clients, listeners, or similar interests. Investments involve risk, and unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Be sure to first consult with a qualified financial advisor, tax professional, insurance professional, and/or legal professional before implementing any strategy discussed herein. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.